Isn't he Mexican?
Colombian.
He calls himself American.
What is this?
Anchor Baby.
And in this corner, it's the American Anchor Baby.
Daddy's home.
That's an offensive term. People find that hurtful.
You mean it's not politically correct? Excuse me. I'll use the word anchor baby. You know, he's an anchor baby in Canada.
Tell him we still rolling with Trump, too.
Anchor baby, the whole thing sounds horrific. You're just making it sound like immigrants are these horrific, greedy people.
Ustedes pueden aceptar mi negocio o aceptar las consecuencias. Plata o plomo.
So you would be considered white, in my opinion.
You the blackest one in this room,
I think so.
And what happened was his mama got pregnant on the other side of the border. And then a few hours before, just before it was time for him to pop out, she jumped across the border and let him fall on American soil. So he became the anchor baby. You don't call him the anchor baby for nothing. Amazing.
We like this anchor baby, right?
Hello, I'm the American Anchor Baby, and this is my show. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Appreciate it. We're going to get rolling here on this fine Wednesday, and we got some things to get into. We're in the chair in the studio, so you know what it is. 888-775-3773. Let's give you the number right away. If you want to call in and talk to the Anchor Baby, we're live on YouTube. What's up, everybody? YouTube, rumble.com/American Anchor Baby, dlive.tv/Gorgonzola, and of course, punchy.tv /Anchor Baby, okay? Make sure that you are watching where you want to watch. Like, subscribe, do the thing. Be kind and rewind, okay? So we're live on all those platforms in a moment here. But other than that, thanks for tuning in. What a fine Wednesday. We just finished filming Punchy, an episode of Punchy. So I'm a little, it's going to be loosey. It's going to be goosey. We're going to have fun today. We're going to just get into some things here, okay? Because I know that Zelensky is out there killing Russian generals and refusing to freeze the Russia war front. So to facilitate negotiations in a blow to Donald Trump, according to Newsweek. So I know that that's happening, and our own government, in a show of what I can only gather is defiance and contempt, is selling off pieces, all the materials for the big, beautiful wall that the people want. The people voted for Trump. The mandate requires it. And we have no clue on the drones, what the heck those things are. So I know all that's happening, a little bit of a news rundown. Pretty much the news I'm not really going to talk about. Just give you the rundown. No clue on the drones. A lot of amazing signs as well. You know, all the people supporting or kissing up to Trump. And the good signs ahead. So I know all that's happening. But I want to talk about something a little different. So we'll get into that, okay? All right, y'all. Appreciate it. 888-775-3773. Hit that like button, okay? What are you doing not hitting the like button? You come in, you are rude, or you're quiet. You don't even say anything. You're like, nobody wants to talk to me anyways. You're like, wow, what a judgmental person. Going around assuming what people... You won't even click the like button. What a judgmental person with no decorum. Hit the like button. Don't be rude. But anyways, look, welcome to the show. We're not talking about killing Russian generals and World War III. We're talking about schmornography. Schmornhub. I swear, I think most of the hosts on the network, and the influence must be coming from somewhere. Avoid saying certain words. But then they say it after. Then they say it soon after. And we're talking about PornHub. Just briefly, if I may. Since we're being all loosey-goosey. I was watching Joel Friday TV. You guys caught today's episode? And he was talking about homosexuals. Are you born gay? You know, it got me thinking about all sorts of stuff like identity and all sorts of stuff, you know? It seemed to rub a lot of the people in the chat the wrong way too. Like, what's this guy saying? Is he saying, how can he say homosexuality is not bad or that heterosexual is not good? What is this guy on? Anyways, look, we'll probably get into all that, but the news, if I may, real quick, is another U.S. state is blocking access to that website. That one little website that is one of the highest trafficked websites in the entire world, besides like Google and stuff like that. So, you know, you're here, you're down here in the world with the rest of us. Anyways, I don't know where I'm going with that, but look, Pornhub is blocking Floridians. Floridians will no longer be able to access the most popular porn site next year due to a row about age verification laws. It will geo-block people in the Sunshine State from accessing its website from January 1st, like it has done for a dozen other states. Utah was one that happened, and there seems to be more than just those. Daily Mail is saying a dozen other states. The move is a response to a new bill in Florida that requires adult websites to verify the age of people who use their websites by using government-issued IDs or similar documentation. And you've heard some of this talk related with like the TikTok stuff and banning children from social media. You see a lot of these tech tools being employed. The requirement of government-issued IDs, connecting them to your electronic footprint and all that. So all that's in play as well. So that's pretty much the story here with the Pornhub. They're blocking it. You gotta prove that you're of age. Americans who visit the website in the meantime are being met with ads such as "You will lose access in 14 days." So they have their own campaign. They're trying to tell their faithful viewers on their website, hey, you know, tell your government official this ain't cool. You tell your government official. Did you know, it says right here, look, did you know that your government wants you to give your driver's license before you can access Pornhub? As crazy as that sounds, it's true. Yeah, go and ask your elected officials today, write a letter. Hey, what do you mean you want to block pornography, children from pornography? What the? I'm a free individual. How dare you? Anyways, jokes aside, like, it's fine, honestly. Like, it's fine. Like, this is how it should have been, quite frankly, from the beginning. Like, what kind of world is this? Where we really just all been turning a blind eye to an open secret, an open, nasty secret, and there is nothing. There is no general kind of, at least some general finger wagging, like, that's not okay. Like, there's none of that. So it really should have been like this from the get. Like, this is an adult thing, and you need to be an adult to consume this. Like going into a casino or going to a bar and drinking alcohol. You know, it's really not that crazy. It's not necessarily a bad thing, and it it's a fine way to order society. I mean, like I said, it's kind of should have been already like that, quite frankly. You know, you got the schools. They're going around. They say, it's okay. They teach this in the schools. They tell them it's so, you know, you explore they tell them this. They tell them explore, do the big M to yourself, and this is how you do it. It's like all of this is so egregious, and we are hypnotized. Just saying nothing about it. Like, and here's what I'm getting at. Because I think the general consensus is of let's say the adults in the room, is that I think they really believe they're still in the world they grew up in, where society was saying, hey, you know, don't be a slut. Don't be a slut, finger wagging at certain things you wear and watch and do. It used to be that a young lady, clothed, but wearing makeup and dancing on stage was seen as, what's the word? Vulgar. I think. If that's there might be a better word for that, but there was once upon a time, not too long ago, they made movies about it. That's where I get my education. But that young ladies who wanted to be performers, they were seen as vulgar, wanting attention, and there's something like, I want to say pornographic about it, but that's probably not the word either. But that's just how they saw it. You got to understand what I'm saying here. These are fully clothed women, but that they want attention and be on stage, and that was degenerate. And so I really think the people think that we're still in that world. We're still in that world where at least there's people wagging their finger. Society is saying something about it, and parents are saying stuff about it, but they're really not. In fact, they're full on going the opposite way. They're full on saying, you don't judge, love is love, this is healthy. I'm trying to paint this picture of how wildly different the world is. So it really should have been like this already, quite frankly. It's an adult thing. So I really have no problem with it. It's like, whatever. These states want to order their states the way they want to. Makes sense to me. They want to, and this is common sense. It's not like they're throwing in jail any person who's showing too much ankle bone, or something. It's like reasonable. It's like, okay, well, how about we just make it where you gotta prove you're 18? That's how it should have been in the beginning. So we're really not in that world. I feel like they still think we might be, but there are no caps in society, if you understand what I'm saying here. There's no breaks. There's no limiting factor of society, of a culture that at least says, hey, that's not okay, of parents that would be ashamed or look down on you. You understand? The shackles have been released, and the people have, it's a misnomer. It's wrong to call it the shackles have been released, because people are in a different prison of their appetites. But these appetites have been unleashed. You understand what I'm saying here? So that's kind of like the reasonable, my reasonable, I guess, what a reasonable kind of reaction to blocking access to these websites, okay? But I can't help but think a little bit about Joel Friday's show today, and I wonder if anyone really believes this will fix something. Like, is it going to change? What do you think is going to change? Like, maybe down the road, after some time, if enough of this type of laws go around and this mentality, but it really depends. Don't you see? It really depends on how people take it, duh. But it's what gets me about this, how do I put this? It's like there are people even in my own chat. They'll go around, they say they're Christians. They say they've overcome lust even. There's some people who say, well, you know what? I'm a Christian now. I forgave. I know that lust is a sin and I don't sin, they'll say. And they'll look at others and be like, hey, you're unclean. You're lusting or whatever. And so they say they're Christians and and the thing that gets me is if it sounds a little like they learned something about sexual immorality. They read something about it in the Bible. They learned something about sexual immorality. And they'll say, like, they'll even say they'll avoid porn, for example. They'll say that they don't watch that anymore. They avoid it. And when they describe it, they'll say that they have stopped sinning, for example. I haven't sinned. I don't watch that anymore. I'm good. I don't sin. Some will even go that far. And then they'll go around saying, I'm a good Christian and I want to get married. I think it's a good thing to do. You should get married, make a family. And I just know that people aren't really thinking. They're not really thinking. They'll be quick to say, well, what's Nick doing? He's supporting porn? What's this guy trying to say? Oh, it's just okay? Not at all. In fact, I can even understand the people who want to stop. They want to do things right. That's really at the center of the thought of what they're thinking. They want to do things right. But I just know they're not really thinking this through. They're like, I'm a good guy. I'm not sinning. I don't watch porn. And I'm not going to lust. Jesus said, the lust, the sin of adultery starts in the mind when you lust over somebody. I'm a good Christian. I don't do that. And I can't wait to get married. And I'm going to be a good father. It's like, did you think this through? What about the moment when you make children? It's like, did you really think this through? They're the first ones to judge others, and they're the first ones to judge themselves and just kind of go nuts. Should something go wrong? Should they feel lust or watch porn or something like that? And there's just something wrong about that. There's something that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. Because I can understand the desire and the instinct. It's like you were living a certain way and you don't want to live that way anymore. You heard about sex out of wedlock. And you heard about these things, and there's a reason why you heard about these things. There's a reason why these things were etched into stone tablets, maybe some of these things. Right? Don't covet your neighbor's wife. Something like that, right? Don't covet your neighbor's wife. There's a reason why these things were written down. There's a good reason for them. But you're reading stone tablets. And you're living from stone tablets with no understanding. Doesn't the Bible even say the word kills, but the Spirit gives life? So you got these Christians who get together and they're living the other way the whole time. And they try their best, they have the best intentions and they get together, but it ultimately fails. It ultimately fails because they have the best intentions, but they're living from stone tablets. Not really knowing what they're doing, okay? So, you understand what I'm saying? It's like you get two people and they hear about Christianity, they come together, and they're like, we're going to be really good. And you can admire that. They want to do it the right way. You can admire that. Like, we're going to wait till we're married. But you get people all the time who came together and they've already opened Pandora's box, for example. They've already done all that. They've already gone into all that. And then they, how do I put it? Yeah, just they try and pretend. So anyways, just a little bit I was thinking about this, some of the thoughts that came to me about all this. It's interesting to me because it really is a commentary on people. Like you may have heard Joel Friday TV's episode today, and he was asking, he's like, are you born homosexual? Is that even possible? And it feels like a lot of people, it just went over their heads. They're just quick to judge or something. They're like, what is Joel talking about? They asked him, is being heterosexual good? And he's like, no, that's not necessarily good. What's good about being heterosexual? People are like, making babies, duh. And it's like, okay, what's good about it besides that? How can you guys not see what Joel is talking about? He's totally right. Morality is a thing just taught to people. And there's no one born straight. No one's born straight or gay. There's no such thing. There's no such thing. You understand? There's sex. And what's sex? Sex is this action. This I don't need to describe it. But the end result of sex is at least the possibility of a child. But that's what it is, right? Like this is a remote. This is a hand. That's sex. This act make a baby. This act is these body parts touching and it doesn't make a baby. And you understand? Like they already are something. You can't add more to it. You can't be that thing. You can't be heterosexual, be sex. It's like those words aren't even being used correctly. Heterosexual, like being a heterosexual and being a homosexual. Those words aren't even used correctly. Those words are simply words to describe behavior. They're just simply words that describe a behavior. And is this behavior with the same sex or with the opposite sex? Is a sexual behavior with the same sex, homosexual, or a sexual behavior with the opposite? That's all it means. So, so the thing that really interests me, it's like identity. I'm remembering this silly way I used to mess with some of my friends a long time ago. And, you know, if you grew up black, you may not understand this, right? Because if something's gay, it's like, whoa, bro. It's like, whoa. Maybe you might laugh a little bit, but the vibe is like, stop with the gay stuff. But if you grew up a little different, you'd make gay jokes. Be like, oh, it's not gay if you have socks on. Anyways, what am I getting at? It's that sometimes this kind of banter would come about and people would be uncomfortable. And so I'd mess with them. I'd be like, have you ever had a gay thought? Be like, no. Gay thought? I don't have a gay thought. I'm not gay. And so I'd mess with them. I'm like, think about Johnny, let's say, just making up a name, but think about our buddy who's there with us. Think about Johnny in a gay way. Think about his whatever. And then my buddy would be like, even if I did, it's like, it doesn't make me gay because I don't like Johnny. I'm not attracted to Johnny. So I'd be like, okay, think about Johnny, and then think to yourself, after thinking about Johnny, go, I like Johnny. What the heck is Nick getting at? I'm trying to describe the level, how deep identity goes, and it's very shallow. It's all but a thought. Your whole identity is an illusion. Your whole identity is a hologram. And your gayness is as simple as the joke I described. If you overreact, if let's say you're in a group of friends and you do this dark magic I'm playing with, and one of your friends overreacts and he's like, and he follows your command and say, hey, and now think about Johnny and say, I like Johnny. You can see your friend overreacting and they'd be gay. They'd be like, oh my gosh. I don't know, that I thought about it and I really did think that I like Johnny. Like that's all gay is. That's all straight is. That's all your whole identity is. A mere thought, a hologram. You understand? And people who believe holograms are dangerous people. They fight and they go out and seek ways to defend this hologram. And it doesn't even make any sense. I'm still thinking about Joel Friday's show. Great show. You should be checking it out. You know, there's this caller on his show and he's all like, and he goes on his show specifically to he even says it. He's like, I have to defend myself against all these evil people in the chat. And I see the calls coming in. Thank you so much. 888-775-3773. We'll get to all of you. What was I saying? They're dangerous people. They go out and find ways to defend them. It's like if you called into a show or went into a room and everybody's like, ew, you gay person, ew, you would just leave. You'd be like, oh, I'm not wanted here. But you keep going back to the room like, I have to defend myself. It's like, that is a dangerous person. It's so insane. You got people, because after everything I've said, the image you paint of people is so interesting. They're really going around wearing these grotesque masks and garish colors and weird looking things, and they think it's them and they think it looks pretty, and they go and they smile and they give you this crazy smile and they hope that you don't notice. And that's everybody you see passing by you in the street. They got this grotesque mask, their identity. And it's either pink and big and garish, or it's sad, or it's this or that. And it's all a hologram with these garish looks. Sometimes within, sometimes without. So, it's sick. It's sick, okay? And if you've been listening to my little spiel so far, the Christians can be sick. The porn addicts can be sick like this. The gays, the alpha, Are you wearing a mask? Are you wearing a mask? What's your mask like? So anyways, I don't know how we got there. We started off with Pornhub, but they're banning it, okay? Sorry, kiddos. Time to, I don't know, figure it out. You think this is going to stop them from watching Schmornago? I think it'll make a generation of pretty tech-savvy youngins. It's one of those things I really don't. It's just one of those things that, like I said, it's fine. Let's put the 18 on it. Like, it's how it should have been anyways. But let's say we had the you got to be 18 stipulation on porn a long time ago, like how it should have been. I still don't necessarily that. It's like there's laws against underage drinking, but that still happens, kind of thing. That's what I'm saying about it. It's like there's laws about all these other things for people that are underage, but they'll do them anyways. That's not to say you shouldn't make a rule against them. That's how it should be anyways, but I hope you don't think now you're going to have a moral society. Okay? You understand? These holograms are crazy and they're dangerous. And anyone who... It's one thing to understand identity and holograms and the things that people are trying to overcome and not judge them for it. Absolutely fine. I mean, let's talk about your mask at home. Why are you going around judging? So that's totally fine. That's one thing that needs to be said about this hologram business. But there are people who lean into it. They full on, they're like, this is me. They fight it. And I know that everybody does it. But what am I trying to say here? All I'm saying is that there's a reason why, how do you put it? If you had a lineup of people and you didn't know much about them, but you knew which one was the laziest. I'm not judging that person for saying that, hey, you, the laziest out of all of you're pretty immoral and you're going to bring a lot of trouble for your life and you might maybe for others. I can say that about a homosexual as well. Because out of a lineup of people, they're like really into that. They're really self-worshiping and anyways. If I may nitpick myself a little bit further, that's not to say that just because you don't have a outward identity like homosexual, that you're not, if not even worse than someone like that, okay? It's like, whatever. So those are the things I wanted to say about that. I got callers holding. I want to get right to you. But on this hologram business, people who totally go into these identities and holograms and without even an instinct to stop themselves. And callers, you're hanging up and calling me back. If you're hearing my voice right now, you're on. Oh, we do have a call screener. Never mind. I'm almost done. I'm about to get to you. Real quick though, to drive the holograms point home and why you got to be careful. Especially with someone who has no space and they go right with that first thing and it might even be your sweet little wife. It might even be just jokes. You know, there was this Dear Jane article on Daily Mail. She seems like a nice lady. I've corresponded with her via email, and she said it was lovely to correspond with me. Maybe I'm just a beta male. But this is Jane, and I've wanted her to talk to Jesse because she's like a dating expert. I think she'd be great. Jane, respond to my emails again, please. Come back. Let's do the show. She didn't want to do it. But someone asked Jane, my wife has subtle habits that make me fear she is look at all these ads, Daily Mail, impossible website. My wife has subtle habits that make me fear she is a secret psychopath who will kill me. You're like, whoa. I love my wife, but I've recently found myself obsessing over an unshakable feeling, so much so that I think about it every day. I fear she's a secret psychopath that one day she's going to kill me. She's obsessed with true crime. Recently, she's been loving the new Eddie Redmayne series, The Day of the Jackal. Some series, okay? So a bunch of true crime series. She's been saying things like, wouldn't being an assassin be a great job? Would it be a killer? That's a fine... Look, it would be kind of cool. Don't get mad at her over that. That might be kind of sick. Wouldn't being an assassin be kind of sick? You know, like, for cool stuff. I disavow assassins. We don't like assassins on this show. In fact, we don't need anger, violence, all those things. We really don't. But I'm trying to be a little understanding of this wife here. But okay, the problem is she often seems like she's being half serious. The other day, after a colleague had angered her at work, she came home and said with a totally deadpan expression, "I'd genuinely be happy if they died." See, I don't know how much he's adding to this. This is a relationship. This isn't even real. So whatever. It's always been this way, and I've always written it off as dark humor. But last week it was her birthday, and I got her a brand new set of Japanese kitchen knives. Watching her marvel over them, I had a sudden nightmare vision that she would use them to slice me up. I shouldn't be laughing. There's something really funny about this. There's just something comical about this. Anyways. But what's Jane say? Jane says, every woman's obsessed with true crime, so chill. And that's probably true. She says, all my girlfriends are endlessly consuming this stuff. And why? She says, well, women spend so much of their lives learning to live with the constant fear of all the ways we are vulnerable. I don't know a single woman who hasn't found herself frightened while walking down the street at night, hearing a loud set of footsteps. Well, we've all had to deal with unwanted advances. The resulting anxiety is something we carry our entire lives. The better informed we are, and they're getting informed through this true crime stuff, the more likely we are able to save ourselves. And that's just such hogwash. That's just not true. People like the true crime stuff because they're scratching this like sick itch. It's thrilling. We're talking about killing and lies and your own lovely wife or husband killing you and you're in the bed of your matrimony, and it's all thrilling and insane. So, and women love that stuff. So dear Jane, I feel like you left our friend here up-ish creek. See, the truth is anybody who, and I'm stretching this a bit. I don't know anything about them, and we don't know what he's added to it, but anybody who's just so quick to go into that hologram of I've been offended and this person came after me, to the point where you're out loud saying, maybe you're joking, but I'd be genuinely happy if they died. I'd kill them, and blah, blah. There's probably so much I'm adding to here, but really I'm just bringing up this story so we can yuck a little bit. But also, if the point can't be made a little bit, the holograms, being into these identities can be offended. These identities can be disrespected, and all hell breaks loose should you dare. Let's get to some calls here. Appreciate you holding 888-775-3773. Got some other fun stuff to get into here. Radical feminism, the shooter, maybe some thoughts, and an amazing thing here from Hake, Trump and Melania and their morning routines. Look, we're going to get into some stuff. Call me back, those who hung up, 888-775-3773. We got Brian out of North Carolina, sir. Thanks for your call. You're on the air.
Thank you, Nick. How are you, man?
All is well, sir. Merry Christmas.
Nice. Merry Christmas to you, too, man. Appreciate that.
Right on.
Hey, listen, great topic. I like that you carried on, excuse me, I like that you carried on Joel's, to cap off what Joel's show was kind of about, because his show really brought out, it shed a lot of light on, like you say, the holograms or the identities. And you just mentioned an example about, okay, if I know the laziest person is this, then there's no problem then with pointing that out, And you kind of compare that with the open homosexuality thing. And, I think that that's not even the worst of it. You say hologram, but it made me come up with this idea. Well, I didn't come up with it, but this idea that crossed my mind of a hologram, which is, as far as I can see, worse than, that outward person that's believing in the hologram. What's worse is the person that's holy and believes in that hologram.
Whoa.
Because they judge even harder.
I think I'm following, man. They judge with the wrath of God.
Oh my goodness, man. And it's horrible. It's horrible. And I think that it's interesting when you point out something that's true, like Joel did today when he was it just kind of happened. You know, whoever, I can't remember who it was, somebody asked him if he was something about him being heterosexual, if he was going to come out as being heterosexual.
Yeah.
And then they got him, and he was like, it's like, I don't know where I'm going with that, but
no worries. I want you to take your time.
I appreciate it. It's just interesting how when you point out something that's true and it's something that goes against that hologram or hologram in this instance, it's amazing how people really turn on you and get really, really wicked about something that isn't even real. It's just really amazing.
Yeah, man.
And I think that most people are believing in holograms. They have this. They like you said earlier. You know, they learned something, they heard something, and then they read something, and now they've identified with that, and it just flipped their life upside down. It didn't flip their life upside down, but in their minds it did. But it just took them deeper into this hole of judgment.
So
and I
true.
think it just makes it 10 times harder to get out of that mess, man.
Man,
it is true.
It is true.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go.
It is true that, you know, being gay is no different than being gay and having gay sex is really no different than being straight and having straight sex.
It's frottage.
You know,
it's frottage of the flesh. You know what I mean?
Wait, what's frottage?
Frottage. Maybe I shouldn't even say that, but it's a French word. It might be English, but it's rubbing. It's just the word just means rubbing.
Okay. It's a frottage of the
frottage.
Flesh. Exactly. Yeah.
It's just, and that's not making. That's not. People say, "Oh, so you're okay with gay sex?" Like, you're not even listening to me.
Exactly. No, you're not. And what I noticed today on Joel's show was how much worse it was for the person who heard Joel's stance on that and then turned around and had something to say about his stance. That sounded way worse than what I think it was JC that called in first.
Yeah.
You know, because we can see JC. We already, you know, we see that. But this other person, you know, whether they know it or not, they're really like a snake in the grass that you can't see.
What do you mean heterosexual is not good? It's you make babies. But anyways, that's identities.
Yeah.
Holograms. Oh man, you're making me think about a lot of things. Interesting call, sir. I want to ask you. I forgot now.
That's all right.
But you put it so well, man. You made me think about how every group, everybody who's worshiping one of their holograms, they always have something to say about each other. Like I just saw this TikTok, and it was some Asian girl, and she's doing some crazy dance, and she's and the whole thing is where, in the caption said, "Men gaslighting Part 2," and she's basically she's saying phrases that men use to gaslight women, and she'll be like, one of them was I forget what it was. She was like, I don't well, if that's what you thought about that, no, I'm sorry, that's what you thought. And so she's got this angry face, like some man said that to her one time, and so she goes to the next phrase, another phrase a man uses to gaslight women. I'm sorry you felt that way. And I'm watching her, and I'm just like, each one of these can be a guy, can be a woman saying it to a man. It really is just, this person hates that person hates that person. The Jews hate the Christians, the Catholics hate the Jews, the Muslims. They all have something to say about each other, but it's really just fighting. And there's some true things, but barely.
Yeah, barely.
Really,
I don't even know
90% of what they're saying,
like,
what's really motivating 99% of what they're saying is their anger to the other person.
Right. And it has nothing to do with what's going on right now to begin with.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody has something to say about somebody else. Like, I was watching this TikTok, and it was this Jew, and he was showing off this item this like light switch that lets them turn on the lights even though it's Saturday. You ever heard about this? You know how like the Jews can't turn on lights or something like that? Or some Jews.
I've heard of that. The Sabbath, yeah, I've heard about what they do.
So the rules say that, you know, God said don't do this, okay? And so they have these tools, like certain light switches and stuff that let them, what you see the comments of the TikTok and it's all these people saying, what's wrong with these people in this religion? So their whole thing is about tricking God and all that. And it's like a good point. It's a pretty good point. I'm just like, that's kind of interesting. But then I look at the Catholics opening the 5 doors. You hear about this? They're opening these 5 doors, and it's supposed to make it easier for your soul to be saved, literally, if you allow me to boil it down. And I'm just like, that's pretty Jewish of you. So you have stupid rituals that try and trick God too. Like, you know what I mean? Everybody's just mad at each other. They all got something. They all have something to say about each other. It's really shallow.
Man, you just made me think about how that's like. That's so satanic of them, actually. It's like doing this little quote-unquote trick. You know? It's like you have little tricks that you need to do in order to receive God, I guess.
It's tricks. It's weird. Man, thanks for your call. Anything else you want to say?
No, I love the show, Nick.
Thank you, sir.
I just love the whole network. You guys are a joy to watch. You never know what's going to happen on the show. And if anybody's listening, you can only grow listening to you guys. I just really appreciate the show.
Man, thank you for that, Brian. Isn't it weird, Brian? The network's like growing. It's happening. I look at Joel, I look at Hake, I look at everybody, and it's like I look years back, and it's like happening. We're alive. We're alive, and we're growing, and you're there with. And look, the viewers are here with. It's amazing, man. Thank you.
Yeah, it is. You're welcome. All right, brother. Merry Christmas again, and I'm gonna get back to watching.
Call me again, sir. Merry Christmas. 888-775-3773. Amazing. Hey, what's up, Frederick? How you doing, sir? Is this the second time I've seen you in my chat? Where you been? Nice. Nick, are you heterosexual? Are you asking me to come out? You know you don't ask people to come out. Okay? Don't you know it's state enforced homosexuality at this point? You want me to go on a government list? What? Next you want me to say I'm a straight Christian male next? What? You want me on some list? No, I'm not coming out of the closet. I'm just reading chat a little bit. I don't know what you guys are talking about, but I'm just picking. I love you guys. What the? All right, what are we going to do next? Let's check the super chats, and then I got something for you here. I got something else for you here. Okay, so listen up. Hey, we got super chats. Thank you. Terry Strange, the lovely Terry. She says, anyone that has anger is a hoop and a holler away from becoming a femcel murderess. This is clearly true. Fluck the smorn. And I'm not swearing. I'm just saying, fluck the smorn. I concur, David Morgan. Thanks for the super chat. Right on. Fluck the smorn. What's up, W? What's up, Mildew Grew? Very cool. I haven't even changed the title to my Rumble show. I haven't even changed the title to my YouTube show. It still says Anchor Baby Show. What are we talking about here? Let's just put what's viral? Viral. Porn. Porn and what's viral? What's viral? Porn and you? Question mark, question mark, question mark? No, we can do better than that. Porn banned? Morality returns? Question mark? It's so obnoxious. I love it. Sorry, folks. I ran in here from a Punchy TV taping, which is coming out this Monday. Upcoming Monday, 2 p.m. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be great. Cool. He Black. What's your MMR? He's talking about chess. Hey, Ryan Moon. Right on. Thanks for the super chat. Says, sup, man. Sup back at you. If you got something to say, call me 888-775-3773. Let's go to this stuff. We're done with the true crime wife. The true crime wife. Are you getting worried? Your wife is way too into true crime stories, huh? You getting a little worried? No, don't be. You should only start worrying if she has no separation between getting angry at her coworker and then talking to you about it. You know, she's a full hologram. Did you know your wife's a hologram? Does she know she's a hologram? Does she know she's a hologram? What was I saying? True crime wife, don't be dismayed. There's another thing about true crime, though. Apparently, there's a community. They call themselves the true crime community. And whatever. I was going to say, like, maybe I shouldn't have said that, like promoting them or something, but I'm not promoting them, but it's in the news with the Natalie Rupp now, the shooting in Wisconsin, and her obsession with these shooters, these Columbine shooters and these other copycat shooters around the world. There's been a few of them who tried to copy the Columbine shooters and all that. And this Natalie Rupp, now 15 years old, brought a gun to school, shot him up, Wisconsin, at that Christian school. I'm sure you know about it by now. She's part of this thing. This thing called the true crime community. It's a fandom centered on notorious criminals, particularly serial killers and mass killers and school shooters and stuff like that. Okay, they call themselves the TCC, just so you know. Kind of a, why am I telling you? It's a segue, okay? I like segues. It's a segue from the true crime wife back to this Natalie Rupp now. And like I was telling you yesterday, I believe, I was, Revolver News is reporting that those first 6 pages of the manifesto I was telling you about yesterday, I believe, Revolver is confirming it. Revolver News is confirming it. They're saying that it's hers. This other one, where she mentions a radical feminist Twitter account and how she mentions the desire to destroy all men and remove all these parasites. And then I'm going to get back to calls here. Not confirmed. I still can't confirm it. I don't know. But there's been some interesting details in that some of these Discord accounts are allegedly, where was it? Where did I put it? I had something here that is supposed to make that one a little bit more credible, but it's whatever. It's not important. I really don't know. We're going to leave it as still not credible. But it's this one where they were claiming this was hers, a draft of the so-called manifesto, where she's talking about eradicating men. She and mentions and names this one account that goes by Rad Fem Hitler, Radical Feminist Hitler. And look, I don't really know that much about the account. I remember seeing the account and seeing the posts, and it seemed like your run-of-the-mill rage bait / traditional, like let's discuss traditionalism. You know, and sometimes the account would post things that seem reasonable, or the account was simply posting discussions about the topics of men and women and traditionalism. Seemed to have a more traditional bend to it all, whatever. At other times, the account would just full-on rage bait, meaning put out posts like men are just inherently lustful degenerates and they should be something done to them, but whatever. So why am I bringing it up? Because, well, the shooter was alleged to have mentioned this account, and Brian's call made me think of something, and in fact, I have an example. It made me think about how, like I was saying earlier, everybody has something to say about the other person. They're all mad. Every group has something to say about each other. And they can even be somewhat accurate. They can even be saying the truth at times. But 90%, if 95% of what they're saying is drowned out by their own contempt for the group that they're hating. And the little bit of truth, the little bit of accuracy is just steamrolled by their inaccuracies of their anger. You see, whether it's, different groups do this to each other all the time. Like the TikTok I was mentioning of the woman who was mad at men, and she was saying phrases that only men would say to women when they're trying to gaslight them. Like, you would think that, or I don't, you're, whatever, just gaslighting things, but really anybody could say it. So this Radfem Hitler account that I'm talking about is allegedly mentioned by the shooter in Wisconsin. There was this post that talks about men. And how do I put this? Here, let me just read a little bit of it. And if you have any understanding at all, you would hear these words and you would realize that you can replace male, you can replace men, you could replace all the things that she's mentioning with some other group. That it could just as easily have been a man mad at women writing this. Or it could have easily been, So Radfem Hitler writes a little bit about men. She says, here's the thing about believing that the average male is inherently a lust-motivated degenerate. You're either going to become an incredibly obnoxious trad wife or a radical feminist. In my case, it was both. I felt that men were dangerous. I figured my best bet was to find one who would for whatever reason think I was special. So I opted to become a man's private property so I could avoid becoming public property. It seemed like the best option. I worshipped men in hopes they would think I was different and special. I would say things like, repeal the 19th, and bought into red pill nonsense. And I excused all the faults in men because I thought men were just that important and superior. But that's the ultimate lie. Have you ever seen how a man cares for his possessions? Have you stepped foot into a man's home? If you're looking for health and safety, being a piece of living reproductive machinery is probably the worst option you have. You understand what I'm saying here? That could have been a man about some woman saying, have you seen how women treat their public bathrooms? I don't know why that one came to my mind, but I think it's a good one. Have you seen how women treat their public bathrooms? Anyways, have you seen how, this is an angry person. This is an angry person. I'm getting to a point in my life where I don't even care about what people say. I don't need their thoughts on I don't even care. I'm just trying to say that I just don't really listen to a lot of people anymore because I noticed that pretty much everyone has anger. And so I'm getting to that point where I could just see that, and I really have little reason to be listening to people and whatever they're mad about, whatever. So let's get to another caller here. Appreciate your call, your name, and where you calling from. Go ahead.
This is Steve, Ohio.
What's up, Steve? How you doing, sir? Thanks for your call.
Nico, very well, man. How are you?
No complaints.
That whole spiel right there, it's it got me thinking Satan runs that same trick over and over, and might be 1 or 5 different archetypes, but it's the same trick, but it's so old of a trick that no one would believe it to be false. How in Revolver, where he's it's got to be a lie so old that no one could even fathom it being incorrect. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But he keeps berating us with the same thing so that we just think it's natural, but it's just that constant inner dialogue that we think is us, but he's just hitting that same line, and we think it, because you're constantly hearing it,
No, man, I think you're making sense, man. Can you speak on this more? I want to flesh this out. If you have an example, if not, it's fine. But yeah, if you're thinking of anything, another angle Satan takes, if you can express one.
No, I mean, he's so deep with okay, if he's not going to get you with the armbar, he's going right to the triangle. Like, he's got his next submission lined up. So it's like he's got you struggling, thinking you're going to get choked out, but then realistically, he wants you to get that arm free so he can wrap it around your neck, you know, and like, but he's constantly going for the win. But it's the same moves. You just don't see them because
the same move
fighting
to get you to hate and blame.
Yeah, you're fighting the same little battle over here. When you finally put that fire out, this one's raging. You know.
Right. I think you're making sense, man.
These guys playing whack-a-mole.
And the same it's the same to get you to judge again, to get you to blame and look at someone else.
Trick.
It's the same trick. You're so right.
It's just that same vanity ego trick of, you know, possession. You know, I want to possess something. It's mine. No, it's not yours. Yes.
I think you're making sense to me. And it's the same trick. So true. Whether it's this woman who's mad at what happened to her and her situation, and now that's like her reality. And that's like the only way you can see the world. That's how everybody is.
Yeah, because you want someone else for your confirmation bias, and until you get that ego fulfillment of somebody, oh, you got me too, you know, until you find that you're on a conquest for to fit in instead of being an individual, no identity, you know. It's that same trick of, oh, be accepted by the herd when you could just, like you were just saying, like, I don't listen to nobody no more, dude. And I honestly feel like I do a lot better just doing exactly what's in front of me and just keep working in the silent prayer. Just like, don't think about that. Don't, you know, it's just not you with the thoughts, you know.
Yeah,
so you got to keep running your same old trick too.
I love it. Yeah. It makes sense, man. Makes sense, Steve.
So one more thing. I think it's definitely an obvious globe, man. I'm convinced now.
Oh, for real? You saw it? I was thinking of getting into that today.
Yeah,
if I had time,
globe, man.
So it's proven. You're talking about the final experiment.
Yeah, dude. I don't know how I could have been so stupid. You know, like these flat earthers. I'm glad they got their final experiment done. But
the final.
I mean, I can't believe I was such a doofus for believing it was.
I don't remember you believing in that. But here's the thing. I don't know if I'd call you I don't know if you're being a doofus. You may have been being a doofus. But I've talked to some flat earthers, and their conclusions may be crazy, but I wouldn't call them stupid. You know.
Hey, but although there are videos, and you got to watch the shadows, so you know, it's possible. Anything's possible.
Yeah. So you saw the 24-hour sun in Antarctica?
Yeah, well, I just saw random clips.
Right. I saw the video too.
I like to cherry pick information like the rest of us, you know, confirmation bias.
Base cherry picking?
Yep. No, but you'll see a couple where there's some, you got to look at the scales, see what it reads on there, and then also there's a different clip where you watch the shadow and how, you know, but it's pretty cool. It's definitely obvious globe.
Amazing. Yeah, but I was thinking of getting into that. Maybe we have time here. I mean, Bill just walked in.
Oh,
Bill, you know they did the final experiment and proved the Earth is a globe? You want to hear about it? Anyway, Steve, anything else you want to talk about?
No, that's it, brother. I appreciate you very much. Keep rocking, bro.
Call me again, sir. And Merry Christmas. Bill just went, duh. Yeah, so Bill, they went to Antarctica. They took some globe earthers, some flat earthers, some pastor put it together. They took a flight there, and during this time of the year, you have a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, and you just can't have a 24-hour sun in the same circling around you on a flat Earth. And both flat earthers and globe earthers agree on that. That if you had a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, at least reasonable flat earthers agree with that. That would prove the round Earth. And the final experiment did it, Bill. We might have to get into it sometime this week or something, but it's done. Now the question is, will the flat earthers accept it? Bill says no. Bill went like this. They will not. Okay. Would you say I wouldn't call some maybe like they just hear something and believe it, and anybody who does that is a dummy. I wouldn't call all these flat earthers dummies necessarily. Crazy conclusions, but they're taking like information and coming up with a different conclusion. But some of them are really trying to understand this information and data.
I think it's, remember what I said, people get angry and then they start coming up with crazy conclusions.
Right. And fill in the blanks. Yep. Yep. Yes, absolutely. Amazing. So we might have to get into that chat, folks, maybe later. We'll see. But right now we got another caller. Your name and where are you calling from?
HBDC.
Oh, I believe this is the black man himself. Hey, man. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. No
Appreciate
problem. Well, I guess just to touch on the topic that you guys were briefly discussing, flat Earth, it's obviously a globe.
Beautiful globe.
Yeah, spheroid, ellipsoidal, that kind of a thing. And the physics and all kinds of astrological observation proves that. But what I wanted to touch on was the topic that you initially started talking about as a continuation of Joel's show.
Yeah.
Which is this whole concept of like heterosexuality, homosexuality, what is righteous, what isn't righteous. And so to dive into that, the entire concept of it is predicated on lust. That's really the key, that's the essence of what God is trying to demonstrate to us. It's that lust, lasciviousness, promiscuity, etc., is what we should ward off and avoid. But the act of having sex itself isn't a sin. In fact, it's a righteous thing when done in accordance to what God's word is. And so, when I hear Joel say things like heterosexuality is not necessarily good, I understand where he's coming from. He's saying that you can be heterosexual, like King Solomon, for example, and have 1,000 wives and turn away from God and still be in sin, even though you're not gay. And then on the flip side, you can also be homosexual, doing the same thing, and still be in the same boat as the heterosexual person. So there's a righteous and unrighteous way to address it, but to say that there is no righteousness when it comes to how God created us in that respect, I think is not responsible.
I guess because what are you saying? What are you disagreeing with? So you're not disagreeing. You're just saying it differently. Because basically,
what I'm disagreeing with is okay. Go ahead.
Because we said the same thing.
Did we?
Yeah. You should ward these things off. It'd be there's probably a good reason and all that why they say this. It's in the Bible and all that. But all the other stuff too. What you said. Isn't that interesting? Why is it that you had to pick out? Yeah, why is it that you feel like you were in disagreement, in an adversarial position, which is fine to be.
Well, no, I didn't.
We're not enemies. We're just discussing things. But why did it feel like you? Because it sounded like you just said, I get where Joel's coming from, and then you described pretty I think what he was saying too. Exactly. So then it's like, where's the disagreement?
It's not necessarily. It's like, okay, so first off, just because I understand where Joel's coming from doesn't mean I have to co-sign everything that's saying.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I don't.
Okay, so what's that part? Okay, I think I'm following. My bad. And so what part? Yeah, what is the part that you don't co-sign? That you don't?
So he was saying that there is he doesn't see it as righteous or unrighteous.
Oh yes, I'm following. Yeah.
To be any of those things, and the obvious righteous expression of sexuality is to get married, have children in accordance to God's will. Uh-huh. That's the obvious righteous expression of that. And so that's my point. So when you lump all of it in the same bin and you say all of it is unrighteous, none of it has any kind of implications, et cetera, then you're bringing everything down to a common denominator, But what I do think is a good salient point that he made is that it's not necessarily like whatever the sexual act is. If you're doing it righteously, then that's righteous.
And what's doing it righteously?
Like I said, it's doing it in accordance to what God has willed for us.
But you also described, so far you've also described unrighteous sexuality. And one way you've described this unrighteous sexuality is lust. Do you have any other ways you would describe this unrighteous sexuality?
Well, lust is the entire thing.
Okay.
Lust occurs on the spectrum. And when you look at, let's say, for example...
So help me understand it, because you said the righteous... So you can righteously have sex, and the righteous sex is because you're making babies under accordance under God. But you also said it's unrighteous to lust. So have you thought this through? What will you be feeling when you're having sex to make babies under God's accordance and God's...
I think you're missing... I think you're... Okay, I see where... I think I see where you're coming from.
Where am I going?
Saying that it seems as though you're saying like the impetus to have sex itself is considered lust. That's what it seems like you're saying.
No, I'm saying you haven't thought this through. I'm just saying you don't know what you're talking about.
No, I actually do, though.
No, because you said, I'll listen.
Yeah, so the point is, God wants us to get married and have children if we have that urge, if we have that desire. It's explicitly clear. One of the first commandments he gave to Adam and Eve was to be fruitful and multiply. And in being fruitful and multiplying, they were righteous and adhering to what God said. That's not an issue. But the issue is when you look further in Genesis, where you have Sodom and Gomorrah, where it talks about how they had started to deviate away from the natural use of the body and fulfill the lust of their flesh, which is why God obliterated it with fire and brimstone.
Right. So do you know how to...
There's a consequence to that.
Right. So now, so again, the question remains: Do you, he black? Yeah. Are you telling me you know how to return to that? You said man moved away from the natural ways of using it. So you're telling me he black? You know how to do this? Then you've returned to the Adam and Eve, the garden way of having sex. And how do you know this?
How do I know that I've returned to it?
Right. You're saying that man moved away from this natural way of sex and all that. So the question remains,
not all men.
Because you're saying you're basically, that there's a righteous way. The whole thing is an implication that you've returned to this righteous way, because everything you've said just sounds nice, but it's still to say this about David.
It sounds nice.
No, but it does, because look, let me explain.
Says.
Right, but it does sound nice when you say it, because let me explain. You're describing like there's a lot you're filling in. You're filling a lot of the blanks about what these what these people were thinking and feeling in these stories in the Bible back then. What Adam and Eve may have been thinking. You're saying that no, it is, because look, let me explain. You're describing this righteous sex that you read about, but you understand, and you're making it sound like. Allow me to explain using your own words. You're describing this righteous sex that you read about. And you're also describing this unrighteous sex, but you've yet to express to me how you know you're going to have the right sex, because it sounds like you only have the experience and words that I have about sex, which is the unrighteous guy. You see, are you following me at least a little bit? You've yet to show me how you know you're going to have the righteous kind of sex, because so far you only able to express well and describe well the unrighteous guy.
Well, no, that's like a miserable, I think, summation of everything I just said. Because if what you're saying is that the only way that I can talk about the subject of sex is from an experiential understanding of it, where I have X amount of kids and I've been married and I've done all these things, then you're just undermining everything Jesus said about... No. I'm using your words.
You said that it's immoral to lust, but you also said that there's this righteous kind of sex. But I'm waiting for you to tell me how you know you're not going to have this lusting, immoral kind of sex. How do you know you've yet to describe it? I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm waiting for you to tell me what that is. Because so far you just said like stuff in the Bible and stuff like how it used to be, but you're unable to tell me exactly how it used to be.
Okay, so my question is, are you trivializing what the Bible says? Because if you're asking
No,
me,
you're trivializing what the Bible says.
I'm not.
Yeah, you are.
You're asking me, okay, whatever.
No, I can prove it. You're saying, I can prove it. You're saying I'm going to have righteous sex, and you can't even tell me how you're not going to lust. It sounds like you don't know what you're talking about.
I'm literally explaining it to you.
Okay, go ahead. My bad. I may not be listening.
To get married and to have kids in the covenant of marriage is literally what God says he wants for us if we have that urge and desire. That's as simple as it is. So if I live my life preserving myself for that purpose, then I'm living in accordance to what God wants. And me describing that doesn't mean I'm operating from a perspective that has lust riddled in it or anything like that. That's not what it is. That's just me looking at what God has said about these topics.
Wait, how do you know that, though? How do you know it's not lust riddled?
How do I know that my perspective is not lust riddled?
Yeah. Yeah, you just said, wait, what did you just said, you're saying you're not lust riddled just because you're doing it with one person?
Nick.
I'm not understanding what you're saying.
You get married to a wife after you have been baptized and become a Christian, and you have children in accordance to God's word. It's really that simple.
But what's
simple
about
the Holy Spirit, if you have the Holy Spirit, you can discern these things. It's not like you're not going to know when something's happening.
But I don't know what you're saying. Discern what?
Whether or not you're doing it the right way, whether or not it's lustful.
Why don't you discern right now? Why don't you discern right now and tell me how you know you're going to have the correct sex and you're not going to have the wrong spirit or whatever you're talking about? I'm using your words. Remember.
How can I predict what's going to happen in the future? I'm here right
you're the
now,
one. You're the one saying it. You're the one saying it. You're saying you overcame. You're going to be.
I'm telling you what God's word says about the subject, and you're saying, how do I know in the future that I'm not going to be doing this thing? I can't predict what the future is, but I know that if I continue to live.
That's all I wanted you to say. I just wanted you to admit that you didn't know. Thank you.
Okay, this
I just wanted you to admit it. You said all I'm saying. You said all I'm saying is God's word. That's a fact. That's true. All you were was repeating God. These scriptures and stuff. That's a fact. And then you said I don't know what's going to happen in the future. So finally, that's all I wanted you to say that you didn't know.
Not only was I reiterating God's word, but I was also providing what's coming from my own understanding. But I mean, if you want to reject all of that in order to undergird your position, that's
and what's my position? And
people who are listening.
And what's the position that I'm undergirding?
Well, it seems as though you're trying to get me to say exactly what you said, which is that I don't know what I'm talking about. When in fact,
you don't. On this, it's not personal.
There you go.
You just. But it's on this call. But don't take it personally. Why are you saying, there you go? I'm just reacting to what you're saying in the call. I'm just reacting to what you're saying, and it doesn't sound like you know what you're saying. But anyways.
I do, though. I mean, if you can't hear it, then that's not for me to take issue with.
So I'm lost. What's my position?
Well, it seems as though you were trying to get me to say that I don't know what I'm talking about, which is
No, but that's not my position. You were saying I'm undergirding my position. What's my position?
That I just articulated it.
No. That's just something we were doing in a conversation. But you said I'm undergirding my position. Can you tell me what's this position and what are we discussing here? I'm a little lost.
We're going in circles at this point. But anyway, so you can't.
So you can't tell me what position I have.
I just told you.
No, that's not a position. That's not a position. No, it's not. The discussion was about a topic, and you're saying I have a position on it. I'm lost now. What was the topic? What's the position?
Okay, if you're lost, then let's bring this to an end.
What are we disagreeing on, man? It sounds like you just didn't like the way we put it. It sounds like you just didn't like the way we put it. Because you started the call saying you understood what Joel was saying. You agree with everything we're saying, but you just don't like a certain way we put it.
That's not it. That's not, okay. Well, it is what it is.
Help me out here, man.
It is what it is. Listen, I don't want to go through this whole rabbit hole.
But I'm not asking you to do a rabbit hole. I'm just asking you to help me out here. What's my position? And then let's just finish it off. Let's just finish it. What are we talking about?
There is a righteous way to consummate a marriage.
Is there a righteous way?
the acts of consummation. That's it.
Sorry.
You can be heterosexual and unrighteous. You can be homosexual and unrighteous. But there's only one path to righteousness if you're going to do, that act.
Nice.
And that's to do it in accordance to what God wants us to do. That's it.
Aye. Cool. I think the only point I had is I don't think you really know what that means about accordance and gods and all that. But yeah, where are we disagreeing?
Okay.
Where are we I mean, no one's. It feels like you guys just want to kind of nitpick, be like, we're different. We're different than these Christians. We wouldn't say it how they're saying, but really, we're not disagreeing. We don't like. We're not okay with homosexuals. We don't think homosexuals are righteous. We're not here saying homosexuals are righteous.
Yeah, I never said that. I never once said that.
Aye.
I literally never once said that. But okay. All right. Anyway.
All right, sir. Call me again.
Yep.
888-775-3773. Let's see what else here. Why are you gay? Why are you gay? You are gay. But why are you gay? That you have a family, that you made babies, all that tells me is that you had sex. That's it. That's all that tells me. That doesn't tell me you did anything righteous. That doesn't tell me that you did anything according to God's. How do you have babies according to God? Show me the stamp of approval or whatever. Everybody thinks they're having babies in accordance to God. And if you read the Bible, I guess they would be, right? Doesn't it say be fruitful, multiply? So everybody who's having children is doing it in accordance to God, right? Everybody. The crazies, the people who want to trans their kids, the people who are atheists or whatever. Or maybe I'm adding to it. Maybe the Bible says something like you got to be Christian too or something. But it's just not logical. It's a little silly. When I see someone with a family, all that tells me is you had sex. That's all that tells me. That's it. Matthew with the super chat says, ain't nothing wrong with a little bump and grind. He put 5 eyes in that super chat. So I was allowed to vocalize that one a little bit, okay? Okay? There's 5 eyes in that word. There's 5 eyes in that word grind. He didn't write ain't nothing wrong with a little bump and grind. He wrote ain't nothing wrong with a little bump and grind. Okay, so I'm just saying. Am I being argumentative, Karen? Am I being argumentative? Sorry. I'm not arguing. You know if I'm arguing. Maybe I'm arguing. Maybe I'm unconscious. I don't feel like I'm argumentative. I just feel like I'm being loud. Thanks for the calls. Let's see. Appreciate it. Let's see what else. Am I being argumentative, Karen? Ryan Moon, thank you for that. Let's see here. Hey, thank you, D-Live. Appreciate that very much. Games for Rec, Aries, always a pleasure. And Mildegrew. With the big flags in the chat. Flags in the chat. You don't get flags on YouTube. What a mess. No American flags on YouTube. What the heck were we talking about? Trump. That's what we're talking about, I think. Let's see here. Trump. Let's do Trump. Trump and Melania. Trump and Melania. Here's a little story I was given from Hake, actually. I thought it was cute. I thought it was nice. A little bit on... It's on a little bit of an older story from 2004, but the Gateway Pundit wanted to revive this story, bring it back in a remarkable 2004 appearance on the Ellen DeGeneres show. A 58-year-old Donald Trump introduced his then-fiancée, 34-year-old Slovenian-born model Melania Naus, Knaus, and told host Ellen DeGeneres how much he admired his fiance's early morning insistence upon orderliness. Orderliness. Are you neat or are you messy? DeGeneres asked the future president. He replied that his neatness paled in comparison to that of the future first lady. If I get up, leave bed for a minute, he said, I come back and the bed is made. Right on, Melania. Canadian psychologist and prominent conservative intellectual Jordan Peterson would approve, after all. What the heck is this, Gateway Pundit? They just made me read a joke of theirs. After all, in 12 Rules for Life, An Antidote to Chaos, Peterson urged readers to make their beds. Kind of funny, maybe. That advice. So anyways, Melania Trump's demand for orderliness in her physical surroundings probably helps explain her other admirable qualities. In her public appearances, for instance, she has routinely exhibited grace, calm, and a refreshing absence of preachiness. That's pretty true. Takes the right position, is beside Trump, isn't always talking, isn't always saying her 2 cents, like, this is what I think about this, and as the first lady, we must support the great ladies, the great women of our country. I mean, I'm sure Melania has said something like that maybe, but I don't really see her out there making movements and spending the husband's money on whatever thing she's into. Spending the husband's money. We really got to help these people. You don't understand. So it's nice. Takes a step back, and the thing he appreciates very highly is this orderliness. Come back and the bed is made. Something classic about that. There's something, how do I put this? Orderly about it. There's something so orderly about it. Everybody has their role. It all works together for the greater good. The home is in order. Melania's not going around saying, why do I have to make his bed? It's where he's such a slob. He gets up and it's like, pick up after yourself. It's kind of cool. Speaks to maybe these classic roles. And these roles, it's really not so much about the exact specific things. Not always. But there's something classic about this, and it's Trump himself too. He's classic about it too. He's got money. He's got worldly, shallow, but he's got his character. He's a man about it. And so it gives her all the room to be a woman about it, And part of that is being able to provide and all that, it's kind of a mess. Sorry, ladies. Yeah, you're going to have to work for a little bit. Maybe you won't work when the kids, but you might have to go back to work. It depends on your situation, depends on the economy, how badly they've destroyed the dollar, and how badly they want women to work. But, yeah, so that's a mess. All right, ladies. You just want to be ladies at home and make the bed as soon as he gets up. But you also have to work. So it's like, it kind of gets in the way, I got to work and make your bed as soon as you get up. What the? Sorry, ladies. You think so, Christopher? Why do you say that? So, anyways, where was I? Trump, Melania. But even Trump, even at these heights, with someone so into order, with someone who, whatever, Trump picked her. And they have money, and they come from a different place, and they're not like us, right? They're not like us. You're not like them, honey. They're different. They come from a different stock. But that's not necessarily true. Somewhat true, but it's not. And in this, and let me express to you, Melania Trump reportedly worries about the well-being of innocent son Barron amid hate in the country. And these are just from these sources. You know how it is with these unnamed sources, but I'm getting this from OK Magazine. I don't think they're a sleazy outlet. But even Trump, even at these heights, president of the world, of the most powerful man in the world, has gone through all this. the world turned on him. Now he's bringing them all back. They're all kissing up to him. What a story. And still, he must be vigilant and be the limiting and be the guiding and orderly force even to his lovely Melania, who loves order. Because the woman, the female spirit, let's say, which the man is able to have you looked around lately? They all have it. I mean, that's how I grew up. I only knew it like that. But it is the female spirit to take such things like her orderliness and just take the joke too far. You're going to destroy your son, Melania. And look how tall he is, towering over all these beta males. Look at this. I don't know who this guy is. Maybe I'm wrong. But whatever. He's all right, Mike Pence? But towering over all these people. And Melania's like, I'm so worried about my son. Trump is his dad, Melania. What are you talking about? You got Trump for a dad. What are you doing being worried? That's not a good first lady thing to put out. But I get it. You're a mom and moms worry. But moms, you destroy your sons with your worry. And it's like, where's this worry coming from? It's coming out of your mind, out of thoughts of a future that hasn't come. Melania worries about the hate in the country and how it falls on her son, who is innocent of any of this. She is and has been a good sounding board for him. They talk about life as it is and how they are in the spotlight. She tries to normalize his life, if that is even possible. I don't know what's really going on back there, but, from what I read, back off a bit, I think. Back off a bit. Trying to normalize his life. You're not like them, son. You're not like the rest of them, son. I mean, what kind of normal life you want to live? His dad is Donald Trump, the president of the free world. He's taller than everybody. He's already not normal. Why do you want him to be normal? He's normal enough, Melania, okay? He's in this world. He's born of the flesh. He was born through you. He's plenty worldly. Don't worry so much. Why do you want him to be more normal, so-called? He came through. He's in this world. He's normal, okay? He's came through the flesh. Now he must overcome the mother and return to the father. Maybe he already has. Barron Trump, 18 years old. Look at this towering individual, general. Barron Trump. He likes playing war games on his laptop. Remember that? You ever seen that Barron Trump? I like my suitcase. I like my suitcase. Sorry, Barron Trump. But this is years ago, okay? Hopefully you don't get embarrassed. You were a little kid here. You were a little kid all connected with your mama. No one's going to blame you for it. But you sound like a little. But Barron Trump. I like my suitcase. Wait, where is it? All right, hold on. Is this even the clip?
You will have for a birthday?
I would like on the television drums.
Like on television, the big ones. Yeah, he loves to play drums. So maybe for birthday, he will get the present.
No, like on the television.
Oh, the big
The
one.
television.
Okay. We are very happy to be here. And Baron...
They're very happy to be... What? This ain't no American? Hey, that ain't no American sounding accent. You get out of here. I'm remembering Daniel on my show. Barron Trump, I like my suitcase. Now I'm like committed since I mentioned it. Where the heck is this clip? Nobody has it? Oh my gosh, where'd it go? Unusable website.
I like my suitcase. I have to go to school now.
Yeah, we will have lunch and then you go...
In lunch? I like my suit.
I like my suitcase. I have to go.
Barron Trump. Let's get to some calls. 888-775-3773. Your name and where are you calling from? Hey, caller, your name and where are you calling from?
Okay, hi, Nick, can you hear me?
I hear you. Who am I talking to?
Karen Williams.
What's up, Karen?
Cooking some food.
How you doing, Karen?
What's up, Nick?
How have
Happy
you been?
holidays. Merry Christmas.
Merry
Heaven be
Christmas.
with you.
Big time. Where you been?
I had it on speaker, right? Because I'm cooking some food.
I don't hear speaker. Don't even mention
just
it. You're
took
coming
it
in
off.
clear.
Thank you for answering my call. You are an amazing person, a man, wonderful maid.
Where the heck you been, Karen? Now, I've seen you in the chat. Nice to hear from you. Merry Christmas.
Yes, Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Happy holidays.
Nice. You think I was argumentative, Karen?
Yeah, you are sometimes. Yeah, and you were on
Fair
that
enough.
call.
Fair
You
enough.
were
Fair
arguing
enough.
with her.
I could do some self-reflection, but I was not. There was no frustration, anger. I was having fun. I'm having a blast. Sorry. I'm having too much fun. You can have too much fun. You really can. You could be too much energy.
I understand completely because, like I said in the chat, let no man teach you. That's what Jesse said.
Mm-hmm.
And try not to teach any man. We all have to learn for ourselves.
Beautiful, Karen. Right on.
It's in your heart. It's in your heart. No matter who you are, whatever circumstances you're experiencing, it's in your heart. You know if you are evil or good. You know.
Beautiful, Karen.
I miss talking to you, Nick. I've been calling you, and you've been ignoring my calls.
Liar.
Like I'm some type of nagging girlfriend.
She's lying. She is.
No.
She is
I'm not lying. I've been calling.
No, you have not. Don't lie.
I've been calling. I called Jesse. I called Hank. I called you.
You called, but you haven't really been calling.
For not lately, because I stopped. I'm like, these people. I said these N-words are not answering my calls.
No. Either something's wrong because I have not seen your calls. I've seen your chats, but I have not seen your calls.
I thought it was you. I said, Nick, see, that is me calling, and he answers. I'm like, hello, can you hear me?
You are incorrect. In fact, I remember you having phone issues before, saying, hey, I keep calling and you guys won't answer. Something else is going on because, Karen, we are not receiving the calls.
I thought it was Sean, but Sean left.
I thought.
Now I think it's this guy called Bill. Who's Bill? He's
Bill?
doing it.
You mean the Bill? The best.
The Bill.
The greatest. The best among us.
Oh, man. I'm happy you answered my call.
Thanks, Karen. Hey, call me again. And if you have to, call me again big time. Merry Christmas.
I'm going to call you on your private line.
Private line? That's not public. It's private.
No, I got your number, Nick.
How'd you do that? Don't even.
I have your number. I'm going to call you. You should answer. Stop treating me like a girlfriend.
How do you know I treat my girlfriends like that?
You don't answer the calls.
Sometimes. I answer the calls. All right, Karen, call me again.
Wait, why are you hanging up on me?
I thought you were saying bye. My bad.
No, I was not saying bye.
What else do you have to say?
Something about what you and that other guy was talking about.
Please, let's do it.
Okay, so y'all was talking about how. Oh, oops, I forgot.
See,
I'm such a female.
You're talking about with He Black earlier about gay and whatever we were talking about.
Yeah, whatever.
It was a little unclear, but
I was putting in a comment.
But he's basically saying he's basically what? He's basically saying like, what do you want to say about it?
Listen, what I put in the comment, people think that they are something that they're really not, right? So when you have these thoughts, these thoughts generate feelings, and those feelings generate words. Words are curses, right? So you start thinking and saying, you're feeling, you're thinking, you're feeling, you're singing to yourself things that you want to say out to everyone else in the world to make them conform to what you want them to believe that you are, because that's what you believe that you are, right? Whether you want to believe you're gay, you want to believe you're straight, you want to believe you're saved, Christian, Baptist, hell, of heaven, of earth. No matter what that thought is going to make you have some feelings, right? So those feelings is going to just play and generate into some acts, some words. Those words are inside you. And when those words just build up all of that, and it's that anger and that animosity and that egotistical, what Jesse says, kill the ego. The ego must die. It must die.
Yeah.
That ego just builds up on you, and you just become pure evil inside yourself. You generate and you portray that outside of you, no matter who you're around, no matter where you go, no matter what you do, no matter what you're going through. I don't care who you hate, who you love, who you need, who you want, who you have sex with, if you're gay or straight, if you're black, white, rich, poor. None of those thoughts or those feelings really matter, because that's just something that you're generating inside yourself. And when you learn how to kill that, you learn how to let that die, you really come back into your natural spiritual self. You really learn how that is just gone. That's not me from the beginning. And that should not be me now. And I should not die that way either. I should not leave out of this vessel thinking anything evil or feeling anything bad towards anyone or anything, no matter what, no matter where, no matter who, where, how. It is just those thoughts that generate the evil inside of you. And when you learn how to when you learn how to defeat, I want to use that word, defeat that evil inside of you, you come back to your natural spirit. You come back to your natural self. It is called being born again. You are then renewed back into the spirit that you were made. You are wonderful. We are all just great, wonderful made creations of something very, very spiritual and powerful. And none of us is going to defeat that. None of us is going to beat that. We just need to defeat and beat the ego, the evil inside of us. When someone says that they're gay to me, I'm like, no such thing. Someone say they straight to me, I'm like, yeah, whatever, get you in the dark, you'll be gay real quick. So it's like none of that.
No, but I'm following you. Look, if everyone believed what you were saying, if everyone believed that about people, what you said about that we're all wonderful, and I don't go around saying that about people because we're just not. But there's probably, I think the Bible kind of describes us like that a little bit, so it must be some truth to it. And I bet you if everyone, like, someone could criticize what you're saying, but if we all really believe what you said, this would be a peaceful world. If we really saw each other as pieces of God, as wonderfully made like that. You know, not to say that the things we do or say are wonderful, but maybe other things we do and say would be wonderful and perfect too if we really believe that as well about ourselves. So it's interesting what you're saying. Well, you made me think about something else. Karen, but anyways, Karen, you're spitting here. Anything else you want to talk about?
Okay, no, I don't want to confuse you or throw you off your show. I'm sorry I called.
I'm not confused. No, you mistook that.
Okay, no, okay. I don't want to sound like I know anything. I know nothing. It's just little old me over here. But if people were to just need and want all that matters, and the only thing that matters is love, there would be no problem, no trouble, no pain, no misery, no suffering. But people, they seem to just want to satisfy their ego, their inner self. And that portrays to be what they are outside of themselves. Like Jesse says, don't fight the evil in yourself and don't fight evil outside of yourselves. Remember what you and where you come from, and you'll conquer. You will conquer that.
Thanks, Karen. Thank you.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Shout out to everybody in the chat. And Trump won. Trump won.
Let's go.
And I'm happy about that. Yes. I hope everybody have a happy, joyful, heavenly blessed holiday season. It's a blessing. Enjoy it.
Thank you, Karen. Merry Christmas to you. And thanks for calling. Nice to hear from you.
Happy holidays.
Call me again.
Thanks for answering. Take
All right,
care.
bye-bye.
Bye.
888-775-3773. Nearing the end of the show. So, what else? Trump, Melania. What else, folks? Today is Wednesday. Wow, Thursday already. Bible Thumper Thursday tomorrow. The week, when Bible Thumper Thursday comes around, the week is over. It's crazy. It flies by. Bible Thumper Thursday already. Tomorrow on the JLP show. What a mess. I have so many links here, and I'm trying to pick one. Just pick one, Nick. To just kind of like end off on. And I can't pick between holograms. They're also thematic. A secret army study suggests that we're living in a holographic universe. Speaking of holograms, our whole experience. Not only is our identity a hologram, our experience is a hologram. Sean Barnes, that police chief from that shooting in Wisconsin, he's all into bringing women into the police force. A policing hall of fame. They have him here. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Let's see here. We'll do this. Because, we don't have that much time. And we talked about Trump. And you know what? This is pretty interesting. In fact, might even be pretty important. Or at least pretty amazing. Trump's legal blitz against news organizations. We got this from Morning Brew. Donald Trump sued the Des Moines Register and its now retired pollster, Ann Seltzer, on Monday, alleging that her off-the-mark November election poll constituted election interference. The suit is the latest instance of the president-elect and his allies taking news outlets to court over content he finds objectionable. Not just that he finds objectionable, but it might be against the law. But anyways, brought under a state law prohibiting deceptive ads, the lawsuit claims that the November 2nd survey showing Kamala Harris 3 points ahead of Trump in a state he ended up winning was meant to harm him. Though legal scholar Clay Calvert told NBC News that the odds of Trump prevailing in this case are slim, he said the president-elect is likely pursuing it as part of a strategy to intimidate the media. And there was this other thing. These people lie. It's the craziest thing. And if you remember, back in October, Trump threatened. They always use this stuff with Trump. Donald Trump threatens Mexican families with being ripped apart and isolated. When really, a more accurate headline would be Donald Trump enforces the law. Donald Trump enforces the law and doesn't allow illegals in. Donald Trump takes families, rips them apart, isolates them. It's like Donald Trump is just enforcing the law. Donald Trump has threatened to shut down broadcasters. And this is from October. President of the United States, Trump, threatened the federally issued licenses of television broadcast outlets. Yes, they are licensed to do what they do. And in 2017, after NBC News reported a dispute between the president and his military advisors. The president launched these tweets did not specifically suggest that he would have the Federal Communications Commission, which issues the airwave licenses, revoke them on his order. So in response to this 2017 controversy, the Trump-appointed chairman of this upcoming administration, 𝒔𝒐𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒔, the chairman of the upcoming chairman of the FCC, took a firm stand. I believe in the First Amendment. Under the law, the FCC does not have the authority to revoke a license of a broadcast station based on a particular newscast. Now in 2024, Trump has reasserted that broadcasters who displease him, is how Brookings is putting it, should lose their federal airwave licenses. It's not a matter of displeasing him. It's lying. These people lie. These people do such insane, egregious lies. And there's so many, it's hard. There's so many. There's so many that it's like you can't even name them all because now it's just become the paint on the wall. Stuff like racism exists. Stuff like these things are just the paint on the wall at this point. And no one even questions it. They'll say things like, well, you know, it's like all the so-called you'll have these reasonable discussions where you got these reasonable conservatives and liberals, but they'll both agree. They're both really liberals. And they'll both say things like, no, yeah, it is tough on blacks in America. No, it's true. There's racism. This is just the paint on the wall now. And that's just a lie. And all the things built on this lie. So these news outlets, these media companies, absolute criminals. It's not about displeasing Trump. Okay? Trump has ended that whole thing. I don't know anybody personally. And I remember knowing a lot of people personally like this, but I can't think of people, almost everybody I know personally has this like questioning the media bend to them now. All of them. They all have this like knee-jerk, they all have this initial skepticism of everything they hear. It's an amazing thing. It's like totally changed. So, and yeah, totally changed. So we'll see what happens with that. It's amazing things that might be, you know, there's all these amazing things that seemingly in the cards with this Trump presidency and all that. So wishing the man well, you know, they call it the Trump effect. Just him winning the presidency, just him existing. He's already doing great things for America and he's not even president yet. So that's it, folks. That's pretty much all the stuff we wanted to get through. We got through the calls and the super chats. And maybe whatever. Amazing. Okay, I had a blast. I had an absolute blast. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. What else do we have to say here? Let's check the super chats real quick before we go. Buymeacoffee.com/anchor, baby. Amazing. Beautiful. Thanks, everybody. What else can we do here? We got Bible Thumper Thursday coming up. Tomorrow on the Jesse Lee Peterson Show. I'll be back with you tomorrow. Same time. More American Anchor, baby. But other than that, I'm that's it, folks. What else? What else we got? We squeezed every drop out of that show. Don't go, Nit. Let's re-chat a little bit. Hey, thank you, Stephen Will. Appreciate that. Thank you, Francisco. Appreciate that. Right on. Take care, Amy. Appreciate it. No, wait. What are you guys fighting about? No, you're allowed to comment on the. You're allowed to talk about me in the chat, I think. We're almost done here, folks. I'm almost out of here. I just want to see what you guys were saying. I just want to see what you guys are up to. What are you guys talking about? Look, you guys are kind of fighting about it in the chat. How do we put this? I don't think we disagree. I just like yelling. We're not even fighting, he Black and I. I just like yelling. And he doesn't. So what? He doesn't get what I'm saying about calling yourself gay is the same as being like having identity over being straight. Or maybe he does get that. Honestly, we don't disagree. He knows what we're about. He just has different words for stuff. Look, straight sex is for babies. And that's the proper way to make families. Everything outside of that is like ridiculous. It's not even sex. And then you got the people who think they are the sex. They are this thing they're doing. They call themselves homosexual, for God's sakes. And then you got the people who saw all this and now they got to differentiate themselves. Well, I'm not that. I'm not homosexual. I'm heterosexual. What a trick. You lowered yourself to the homosexuals. You've lowered yourself. You're now playing their game. When before you didn't have to call yourself heterosexual. Heterosexual just is a word that describes a behavior. It's like what scientists use for animals. It's like, okay, that's a homosexual act. That's a heterosexual act. A sexual act with the same gender. A sexual act with the opposite. Anyways. Here I am trying to tie things up. Look, we did the show. I'm out, folks. See you tomorrow. Take care. Appreciate all the support. Complicated business, folks. But we're all family, okay? Take care, y'all. See you tomorrow. Bye. Oh, and Lil Nick, too. He's got to say bye. Bye.